people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Clarissa Shields versus Kay Scotch. Let's talk about the fight. That worked out as I predicted. In the opening stanza, both girls get off to a very fast start, and almost immediately you notice the difference in hand speed between Clarissa and Kay. And why wouldn't there be a difference? Clarissa's what, 31? Kay's 42. Yeesh. She is the noticeably older fighter, and last time I checked, people don't get faster as they get older, they don't get sharper, and Kay Scotch was not in the opening stanza of this match, where Clarissa let off flurry after flurry of punches, putting her hand speed on display, though not necessarily her accuracy, not necessarily the most accurate series of punches, but enough to elicit a lot of respect from Kay Scotch, who had to put the earmuffs on just to survive. It's what usually happens when Clarissa fights a girl at these weights. They're noticeably slower, they have leakier defense, so all they really can do once she lets her hands go is hang tight and try to hold on. Survive. Because they don't have the sharpness, the slip and counter, roll and counter, catch and counter, very quick, subtle movements. Ain't got it. Fight progresses, Clarissa's landing more cleanly, with more impactful punches. You could see that she was chasing a knockout. She wanted it. At times, swinging wildly and hitting nothing but air, mostly because she could afford to. It's not like Kay Scotch could do anything about it. This goes on for a bit. And in the 6th round, Clarissa gets in with a whopping counter left hook that rocks Kay Scotch, stuns her, and it looked a lot like she was out on her feet, at which point Clarissa jumps in, starts pouring it on, scores a knockdown. Kay Scotch survives it, survives the count, at which point, smelling blood in the water, Clarissa jumps on her again and forces the corner to throw in the towel in what was the 6th round of a contest that didn't last very long, and nothing really unexpected happened. Whether or not you were entertained is entirely up to you, but what's not up for debate? The facts and stats. A guy who goes by the name Boxing Pro said, wait, Clarissa Shields' opponent is 42 and has only fought professionally 7 times? That's a fact. Tom of UK Fight Night responded by saying, and a unified champion after 7 fights, with only 5 of those being wins. When I said it was a gimme for Shields, people disagreed. How can she be the greatest when the competition is this poor? Women's boxing is never going to be anything when your quote-unquote greatest to ever do it is fighting this level of competition. Needless to say, there were a lot of people out there who knew the outcome of the fight before it actually happened and are not impressed with what they saw. That pouncing on another female fighter in her early 40s isn't having the desired effect in some circles. Veteran content creator T Street Controversy said, it's not Shields' fault, but Katie Taylor is still number 1 pound for pound due to the severe lack of competition from junior, middle, and up. I think overall Clarissa is more skilled than Katie, but it is what it is. Just my opinion, because you've got to put disclaimers around this motherfucker when speaking on certain fighters. Speaking of that comment, I agree with most of it. I've got Katie Taylor ranked at number 1, and for a lot of the same reasons as T Street, but where he says it's not Clarissa Shields' fault that her divisions are so barren, it's not Katie Taylor's fault either, or the other girls. What does that mean? That they may not be able to win as many titles in as many weight classes as Clarissa, because Clarissa's divisions are noticeably emptier. There are a lot less girls fighting at 154 and above than what you see at the lower weights. Everybody says the same thing. It's not Clarissa's fault these divisions are empty. It's not these other girls' fault either. If they were fighting in as empty, barren weight classes as she is, they'd probably be 2- and 3-time undisputed champions, because the quality of competition is so poor and so old. Veteran fighter Anthony Fowler, and this is coming from a fighter, not a content creator, said, I remember her sparring in Sheffield around 15 years ago, and she was pushing 30 then. I don't think Clarissa fights the best of the best like Katie Taylor always has. And always will. The fact of the matter is, beating Fighters in their early 40s with little professional experience like Danielle Perkins, who only had 5 fights going in, coming off a year of inactivity, and had never fought in a 10-rounder.
In her 40s.
Kay Scotch. Yet another fighter in her 40s who only had about 7 fights going in, only 5 of which she won, one where she drew and another where she lost.
There were people, they're not impressed by that.
Admittedly, I'm not impressed by that. The argument is always the same. Clarissa can only fight who's there.
Sure, but you could say that about anybody. You could say that about the girl that Katie's about to fight. You could say that about the girl Amanda's about to fight.
You could literally say that about anybody. The difference is the girl Katie's about to fight has more pro experience than Kay Scott. The girl Amanda's about to fight has more experience, more fights, more rounds in the bank than Kay Scott. So what does it say about the women's middleweight division
where there are only 53 registered fighters all around the world
that Kay Scotch, with just 6 or 7 professional fights in her 40s, can be a unified middleweight champion? What does that say?
It says what I've been saying. That talent pool is shallow and that division is weak.
Simple as. The inconvenient truth about Clarissa is while she's dominant, she's dominating divisions where there's barely anybody to dominate.
Where the girls aren't very good, and you can see it with your own 2 eyes. You don't have to overthink it, but some people choose not to acknowledge that, then get mad at us because we do, because we can see a noticeable difference in the kind of fighters that Katie Taylor normally fights. The caliber and the caliber of the girls that Clarissa fights. It's night and day.
And for regularly being the voice of reason, regularly being one of the content creators that points this out, there were a couple of boo birds in my comment section for the live stream. Guy who goes by the name Biz Lead, who said, "All I hear is a bunch of haters. No other woman can beat Clarissa. She will beat your sister, your Sancha, your Nana, your Mama, your Auntie, your Abuelita, your Cuña."
So that's what you did with your Saturday night? Listen to us.
Anyone in your bloodline, and some of you drunks running your mouths, she only fights the best opponents on the planet.
Nobody thinks Kay Scott is one of the best boxers on the planet. And if for some reason you do, it's either you're lying to yourself or you're a fucking idiot.
You do not like it? Then bring a 20-year-old alien, a 25-year-old Martian, or a 30-year-old Saturnian. She is the best in the human species, period.
This is how you react to her beating a 42-year-old? Who had already been beat before, by the way.
He continued, "Haters will hate, and that's all there is to it." Well, if that's all there is to it, why do so many Clarissa Shields fans spend so much time trying to convince people that she's the greatest thing smoking? Another guy who goes by the name Policy Radar said, "The GWOAT can only fight the best women."
Nobody thinks Kay Scott is among the best women. Nobody thought that before the fight, and they definitely don't think that now.
If you guys were as settled and as confident in what you're saying as you let on, you wouldn't waste time on the quote-unquote haters, the people like us. You only feel the need to address.
They think by calling you a hater, they invalidate what you're saying. Kay Scott was 42 years old. She only had 7 fights, of which she only won 5.
They actually think we're angry that she won one. I said she was going to win, and I said it would be by way of knockout. Undefeated, he put money on the fight. He won money.
I don't think he's angry.
You guys sound a lot more angry than we do. What we're doing is laughing, because the quality of competition where she fights is comedically bad. So poor it's laughable. W. Newburn, a friend of the channel, said, "I'm not sure what was more pathetic, the undercard or the comedy duo of Mannix and Mora talking up Kay Scotch like she ever had a chance.
This is a 20-to-1 underdog.
And talking like Shields is drawing like Floyd used to. It was sickening listening to those 2 clowns glaze her for 30 minutes straight. It was a good win, but that's not saying much considering Scott's record and age. And of course, the GWOAT, the greatest woman to ever lace up the gloves, is calling out a girl half her size and a 5-0 novice for her next fight.
He's talking about Tam Tebow, the other champion at this weight, the only other champion, and you want to pay attention to the fact that Tam is a unified champion like Kay Scott was. She's only been a pro for 2 years and only has 5 professional fights, but this division is empty enough that in spite of that glaring lack of experience, she too was able to win belts in this division. Because it's empty!
Because you don't need to be the GWOAT to pick up one or some alphabet titles in an empty weight class. Tam just did.
Was she the greatest woman of all times?
And I actually like Tam a great deal. I'm very fond of her and her boxing. But the inconvenient truth is, at these weights, it's really not difficult to pick up a title.
Not as difficult as it is to pick it up at the lower weights, where you may have to run a proverbial gauntlet of world champions experienced ones to even sniff at a belt, where there are only 53 registered women. In today's middleweight division at super lightweight, where Katie Taylor campaigns, there are nearly 3 times as many.
193 registered fighters at 140, where Katie Taylor campaigns. 257 registered fighters at feather, where Amanda Serrano campaigns.
It is a simple matter of fact that most of the depth in women's boxing is at the lower weights, and that's mostly because of how women are built. It's generally not normal for a woman who weighs in excess of 175, 200, or 200 and change to be athletic in any way. For a woman, she would have to be morbidly obese.
That most of the women that run that size don't have any athletic prowess, don't have much ability. So you will find a larger concentration of capable women fighters, skilled ones, at the lower weights because generally, women are smaller than men.
Common sense.
What is greatly lacking among Clarissa Shields' core supporters, Noctilus, a friend of the channel, said, another incredible win over another 42-year-old opponent with an impressive record of 5 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. Who could have possibly predicted that outcome?
Huzzah! Is this what passes as a monumental win for a woman boxer? Because if that's what the standard becomes, then Clarissa Shields is actually setting the sport back. It's having the opposite effect.
Because there's a cluster of people that are gonna pretend this is a big deal, there's gonna be another side to that aisle, a common sense aisle that says,
You guys serious?
this has gotta be a joke, right? You guys are over the moon that she beat Kay Scott? I think a lot of people who probably never even saw Kay Scott fight knew the outcome.
You didn't need to be Bert Sugar to know what was going to happen. You don't even need to be that big a boxing aficionado, because by now a lot of people are aware of how poor Clarissa's quality of competition is.
You think I needed to sit down and watch a 15-minute video from Paulie Malignaggi breaking down the fight of Timothy Bradley to know that Kay Scott was gonna lose and she was gonna get knocked out? I didn't.
Nobody did.
Amanda Serrano took to her social media, took a shot, seemingly at Clarissa Shields, seemingly by saying, if you're on social media defending yourself all the time and trying to convince people who you are, then you're not her.
Period.
Tall people don't go around trying to tell and convince people that they are tall. Just saying.
And who spends more time on social media arguing with strangers than Clarissa and Clarissa's supporters?
Amanda Serrano doesn't do that. Alicia Baumgartner, she doesn't do that. Katie, forget it. Unless Katie has a fight on schedule, you don't even see her. You don't even hear from her.
You're not gonna see them doing what Clarissa does.
A lot of people reacting adversely to Amanda's tweet decided to quote tweet it, start taking shots at her, as if Clarissa wasn't the one who initiated all of this. Amanda Serrano used to be one of Clarissa Shields' biggest supporters.
And it was Clarissa who started taking shots at MVP, started taking shots at Amanda subsequently.
So that whatever Amanda Serrano has to say about it now is only because of what Clarissa Shields started. It's always the same. She starts this shit, then she and her supporters act like she's the victim, like she's the one being hated on.
She's the one being bullied.
That is what Flameboy, a regular on this channel and a regular Clarissa Shields apologist, said. He thinks we're the ones bullying her. When all of the problems Clarissa has with all of these people are problems that she started, taking shots at Rowley and Keith Thurman, unprovoked, taking shots at Jake Paul and MVP.
Subsequently, Amanda Serrano.
The whole issue that she had with Cameron Giles, the recording artist, the rapper, was something she started. She's the one who direct messaged him about the numbers for Taylor versus Serrano, too.
When it was reported that it was the most watched women's boxing match in the history of women's boxing, his reaction was simple. He said she's got some catching up to do, and she didn't like that. So she starts going at him.
It's always the same. These people don't deal in facts, don't deal in reality, which is enough for them, it should be, but they don't want us to do it either. Otherwise, we're bullies, and we're haters. If we are so wrong in our assertions and what we're saying, why the fuck do you guys try to spend so much time around us? Why are you still here, Flameboy?
Start up your own YouTube channel. You know it's free, right? And you can go live during Clarissa's fights the same as I do.
Flameboy can do it. Legendary Boxing could do it. Any one of these Clarissa Shields defenders can do the exact same thing that I'm doing, all on their own, but they would rather spend their time here. Do you know why that is?
They want my approval.
Underneath it all, they know that they're low trust, low quality individuals who only ever argue in bad faith.
Filth!
garbage, and whatever they have to say about anything usually gets ignored. Thus, they gravitate towards others for a sense of approval.
Validation.
Gravitate towards me and other like-minded individuals as they won't feel they've fully arrived unless they sway our opinions. In essence, they trust us more than they trust themselves.
As they should. I am the truth teller. You are the garbage. Your word has no value.
I mean, you can sit in an echo chamber and just agree with each other, but that's not good enough.
That's why you come here.
Here's an example. You know that Superman movie that came out? The one I said vehemently I'm not gonna watch, and nobody can make me. Initially, when it came out, there were a good number of content creators on YouTube, film critics, ranting and raving about how great it was.
But I didn't care. I didn't spend any time watching that movie or any time watching their videos reviewing it.
Didn't spend any time on their opinions. I don't care what they were, whereas these guys, they do the opposite. They spend all this time on this channel watching these videos, angry at what I said when you're the ones that came here. By now, you already know what my take on it is.
My take on Clarissa.
By now, you already know, but you still make a conscious decision to come here. Keep coming back here because what you're hoping is that one day that opinion will change.
You don't feel like it's official, like it's valid, unless I say it is.
Because if you like her that much and you're so satisfied, well, who cares what other people think?
You do.
That's why you keep coming here. The way I see it, Clarissa Shields is definitely one of the best women boxers in the world. I never said she wasn't. All I said is, unfortunately, her divisions are barren, empty. The girls that are there, they're just not on her level. So whatever you see, you have to take with a pinch of salt. You have to curb your enthusiasm that she is going to look dominant against girls like Kay Scotch, Danielle Perkins, novice professionals with only a handful of fights.
Limited ability, up there in age.
As a matter of fact, that shouldn't be a hot take, but these people act like it is. Cry me a river. If I were lying, you wouldn't listen.
If my reputation were not as such, and whatever I said could not be trusted,
You wouldn't listen. Because who's gonna listen to a liar for as long as you've been listening to me? This isn't even one of the bigger boxing channels on YouTube, but you make a decision week after week to come here where you don't have to. You don't have to worry about what I think.
to enjoy your Clarissa Shields fight?
I mean, that's really what gives it away. Nobody spends this much time on this many opinions if they're off base, if they are inaccurate. The only reason you're here is because I'm accurate.
That's why you're mad.
But what did I say in the build-up? Kay Scott's 42 years old, I've seen her before, and even though Clarissa's not a knockout merchant per se, she's gonna win this fight by way of knockout, because Kay
Kay is old. Kay is slow.
Do you know that I would have picked Tam Tebow to beat Kay Scott just as easily as Clarissa just did? Tam Tebow just beat the woman that beat Kay Scott before Clarissa. She just beat her. Does that make her the greatest woman of all times?
Or is it what I told you? Tam's a good fighter, she's skilled, and so is